This is just getting very ugly, folks. Donald Trump's meltdown continuing to accelerate. Someone needs to just take the phone away from him, or just, I don't know, maybe they press pause on their campaign for a day or two, because this is just some outrageous, weird stuff. This is what Donald Trump's campaign just emailed to everyone who subscribes to their listserv. It says the following: "The world has gone to shit in the last 2 weeks." That's the subject of what Donald Trump just sent. The world has gone to shit in the last 2 weeks. And then you open up the email and it says, "The world has gone to shit and Kamala is nowhere to be found." I think I know where she is. That she was holding a rally yesterday in Philadelphia before a packed crowd chanting USA. And today she's giving 2 rallies, one in Michigan, one in Wisconsin, where the line is stretching 1.5 miles outside the venues to get in. They need a bigger venue to fit the 50,000 plus RSVPs. She's filling up stadiums with 10, 15, 20 times the crowd size of yours. Donald Trump continues to write in this email, "It's been over 2 weeks since Kamala was installed as the Democrat nominee, and since then," and he puts this in bold and in red and highlighted, "the world is on fire." No, it isn't. Maybe your world is on fire, but stop shit-talking the United States of America. Cut it out. It is outrageous and abhorrent behavior. Just all you do is talk negatively about our country. And then you try to create fear and panic to hurt we the people, to harm we the people, to cause pain and suffering in we the people. What, for your own personal financial gain? How dare you? Here's what Donald Trump writes in his email. "The stock market is crashing." Oh, let me take a look. Is it crashing? No, it looks like it's up today. It looks like it's up today. It looks like it's up again today. Whoa, actually your stock is crashing. Trump media is crashing. It's down 5% as of the recording of this video today alone. But stop trying to crash our stock market because you think that's a winning issue for you. People's 401ks are up year over year. The stock market is up about 50% since you disgraced the office, when there were empty shelves and no toilet paper. Stop trying to create fear and panic because you're a loser and you're losing and the world is laughing at you. Donald Trump then goes on to say, "Unemployment is rising. Unemployment is at its lowest levels. Unlike when you were disgracing the office and they were at the highest levels in history. Other than Herbert Hoover, you're the only president," I don't even want to call you that, "to lose jobs. I will call you Pervert Hoover." You go on to say wars in the Middle East are spiraling out of control. Well, it doesn't help when you're meeting Viktor Orban and Benjamin Netanyahu and undermining American foreign policy. And American foreign policy right now with our alliances in NATO have never been stronger, despite your efforts to try to give Ukraine and Eastern Europe to your friend Vladimir Putin, who at your recent traveling fascist circus event that you call a rally, you congratulated Vladimir Putin for the prison swap. It's so outrageous that you did that. Let me just play the clip of you doing that, just so people know when I say these things, there's always a clip to back up every single word that I say. This is a data-first network if you're just joining. Here's Trump saying that. Play the clip.
It's terrible. You know, by the way, I'd like to congratulate Vladimir Putin for having made yet another great deal. Did you see the deal we made?
And then Donald Trump goes, "And Kamala Harris hasn't had a press conference in over 2 weeks." Well, you want her to do what you're doing? Which is what? Calling up Fox and whining to them, calling up your propaganda networks, or what? When you did the interview with the butt sniffer, Aiden Ross, and you said that he's a respected person, even though he's known for sniffing people's butts, and he talks about sniffing his sister's underwear, and that's the person who you did an interview with. Donald Trump goes on to say, Kamala is asleep at the switch, but as you're reading this message, liberal billionaires are dumping hundreds of millions of dollars into her campaign. False. Again, most of her money has been raised by small dollar donors. That's where the $300 million plus in donations is coming from. Unlike you, who actually has a billionaire list bragging about billionaires joining your crew. And that's what you've been talking about. You have billionaires for Trump organizations. And when you hold your events at Mar-a-Lago, you tell people, I'm going to make you rich people extra richer. Like when we secured this footage of you at Mar-a-Lago saying that. Play the clip.
Because you are all people that have a lot of money. I know 20 of you and you're rich as hell. We're going to give you tax cuts. We're going to pay off our debt. We're going to do all of the things.
As I said before, there is always a clip for everything that we say. It's always data driven here. Hey, I'm Ben Meiselas, co-founder of the MeidasTouch Network. I just wanted to take a brief break from that last video to give you a climate change update. And I want to do it in the context of Vice President Kamala Harris's VP pick, Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. We all know now Governor Walz was selected by Vice President Kamala Harris to be on her ticket. Over the course of his 2 terms in office, the New York Times recently wrote that Governor Tim Walz quietly emerged as one of the nation's most forceful advocates for tackling climate change. Back in St. Paul, Governor Walz had been increasingly focused on the threats posed by climate change to his state and had been enacting ambitious policies designed to slash the use of fossil fuels that are dangerously heating the planet. The New York Times even wrote that in 2023, Governor Walz signed a law requiring Minnesota to generate all of its electricity from wind, solar, and other carbon-free sources by 2040, eliminating the climate-warming pollution generated by coal and gas-fired power plants. That law came in the midst of a legislative session in which Minnesota Democrats, working with Governor Walz, pushed through nearly 40 other climate initiatives. In June, Governor Walz signed a law designed to speed the implementation of the 2040 Clean Power Mandate by streamlining the permitting of renewable electricity projects. So, wanted to give you that update on Governor Walz and his positions on climate change. Now, back to the video you were watching. So then I get this email from Donald Trump. It goes, Ben, you inspired me to make this. It's only because of you that I am making this. I'm like, all right, what in the world is going to be in this email as Donald Trump is panicking and spiraling out of control? I click to open it up. What did you make for me? The hell is this? Fight, fight, fight. It's your little tiny hands. You know, then it goes, once my clenched fist went up on that fateful evening in Pennsylvania, the message was clear. Fear not, I will never surrender. That's what you made? That's some weird stuff. Why are you making that? I don't want to know who's going to be walking around. It's for real. Who's going to be walking around? Oh, I know. The same people maybe who wear the Trump diapers and say that they're diapers for Donald at your events, or the people who say, I'm with the convicted felon and brag about supporting people who were convicted felons and found liable for sexual assault. And this is what Donald Trump says in this email. I walk through fire for you. I'll put my freedom on the line for you. I'll even take a bullet for you. And I'm just getting started. Actually, you're getting stopped right now for your wannabe authoritarianism, your WWE cosplay fascism, where you invite freaking Hulk Hogan on stage at the Republican National Convention, who rips off his shirt and goes, the Hulkster is telling you to vote for Donald Trump or else. At the Republican National Convention, you are a disgrace. By the way, let me just show you the Hulk Hogan moment, right? Because it tells you a lot about the convention of your political party who your guest speakers are. So rather than give me a platform, you give Hulk Hogan saying this. Play this clip.
You lowlifes, all you scumbags, all you drug dealers, and all you crooked politicians need to answer one question, brother. what you gonna do when Donald Trump and all the Trumpomaniacs run wild on you?
So that's why people are saying you are weird. And they're also saying that because of Shady Vance, your VP nominee. Let's take a look at Shady Vance today, shall we? This is, by the way, is where he was speaking. Just look how small that was. This is him speaking in Detroit in front of a crowd of like maybe just the media, like maybe there's 12 people there. So here's what Shady Vance was asked. You've been criticized for being angry, Shady Vance. What makes you smile? And then he immediately attacks the media and says, you know, it's questions like that. You're fake news. I'm angry. Here, play this clip.
A little bit different here. You've been criticized as being a little too serious, maybe angry sometimes. What makes you smile? What makes you happy?
Well, I smile at a lot of things, including bogus questions from the media, man. I mean, look, I think if you watch a full speech that I give, I actually am having a good time out here and I'm enjoying this. But look, sometimes you got to take the good with the bad. And right now, I am angry.
Okay, Shady, weird answer. Then Shady Vance is asked about Donald Trump's sense of humor, to which Shady Vance says, Donald Trump loves making fun of people. Here, play this clip.
And so, look, I think my message to the American people is very simple on this, that President Trump in particular has the best sense of humor of anybody I've ever seen in American politics. He loves to joke. He loves to tell, he loves to make fun of everybody that's out there.
What in the world even is this, Shady Vance? Then Shady Vance is asked, by the way, Shady Vance's wife is Indian. She's of Indian heritage. His children are biracial. Donald Trump and Shady Vance are making their campaign's main platform an attack on biracial people. Vice President Kamala Harris's dad is a black Jamaican man. Her mom was of Indian heritage. She's biracial. It's not a complicated thing. But here is Shady Vance being asked, how can you fake your race? And watch his answer. Play this clip.
Donald Trump said something very simple, totally inoffensive, but frankly, obviously true to me, which is that Kamala Harris is a chameleon. She's a fake, and the American people have to look at her record if we actually want to know how she stands on the issues, because her words simply can't be trusted. Sir.
How can you fake your race? If
I'm sorry?
You're both Indian and black, how can she fake her race?
She fakes who she is depending on the audience that she's in front of, and that's who she is, and that's who she's always been. Sir.
I mean, by the way, Shady Vance, you've changed your name 3 times. You've developed 4 distinct identities. 4 separate, you've over the course of your life, there's been 4 different J.D. Vances with different names where you've had different personalities and have acted differently. Once you were the fake hillbilly who hated Donald Trump. Now you are the, MAGA, ultra MAGA Trumper who attacks childless cat ladies and think that's, with the misogyny is the main part of your, disgusting. What are you talking about? Here, by the way, you have J.D. Vance attacking Governor Walz for stolen valor. This guy has the audacity. Donald Trump, Mr. Burned Bone Spurs, who has called our veterans suckers and losers, who's attacked John McCain. You have the audacity to attack Governor Walz, who served 24 years, earning 8 promotions, and ending as a command sergeant major, the highest NCO position? And you're saying that's stolen valor when Donald Trump is your running mate? Play this clip.
Well, I wonder, Tim Waltz, when were you ever in war? What was this weapon that you carried into war, given that you abandoned your unit right before they went to Iraq, and he has not spent a day in a combat zone? What bothers me about Tim Waltz is the stolen valor garbage. Do not pretend to be something that you're not. And if he wants to criticize me for getting an Ivy League education, I'm proud of the fact that my mamaw supported me, that I was able to make something of myself. I'd be ashamed if I was him and I lied about my military service like he did.
More Shady Vance saying that he's not bothered at all by Donald Trump's biracial attacks. Play this clip.
Will Jones from Local 4. I want to talk a little bit about race. I was at the National Association of Black Journalists conference last week where President Trump made some attacks on Vice President Harris's biracial heritage. You're married to an Indian American woman. You have biracial children. How do you explain his attacks, and what is your reaction to his attacks as a father of biracial children?
Yes, sir. So I am the father of biracial children. Actually, my wife is here today. My kids are back home with my aunt today. And look, I was not bothered at all by what President Trump said, and I didn't take it as an attack on Kamala Harris's biracial background at all. What I took it as was an attack on Kamala Harris being a chameleon. She pretends to be one thing when she's in front of one audience. She pretends to be something else when she's in front of another audience. And I think he was observing the basic foundational reality that Kamala Harris pretends to be something different depending on which audience she's speaking to.
And here, Shady Vance is asked a question about calling Vice President Kamala Harris anti-Semitic when she's married to a Jewish man. Play the clip.
Hake from NBC News. You have repeatedly suggested that the only reason Kamala Harris didn't pick Josh Shapiro to be her running mate is because of his Jewish faith. Do you have any evidence to support that assertion that a person who's married to a Jewish man is somehow anti-Semitic or bowing to anti-Semites?
Well, I reject the premise of the question. I did not say that that was the only reason that Kamala Harris didn't choose Josh Shapiro. So you should, take a little less DNC talking points when you ask your questions and ask a real question.
And here, Shady Vance just admits that he's totally irrelevant when asked about Donald Trump, saying that Trump doesn't even care about who his VP is and that the VP doesn't really matter in an election. Play this clip.
In Detroit Free Press.
Thank you.
When Trump was at the NABJ conference, he was asked whether you'd be ready to assume the presidency on day one, and he responded by talking about how the vice president pick doesn't really impact the election outcome.
Sure.
Was that the response that you were hoping for from the former president?
Well, what the president has said, and I agree with him, is that most people are voting at the top of the ticket. Now, Tim.
So there you have it. That's Trump's continuing day. We're going to call this out every step of the way. We're staying on the offense here at the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million together. Thanks for watching.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.